Today's speed build is actually quite significant for the Bluewater Village neighborhood here. And the reason being for that is that I needed to break myself out of a certain mold, and I really needed to start introducing some different architectural styles before it was too late, so to speak. Now, for those of you just discovering my channel and just kind of getting to know my little corner of the internet, I suppose, my name is Michael, and I want to welcome you to Sovereign Gaming in Life Sims, the YouTube channel where I build worlds, lots, and share my thoughts on video games in the life simulation gaming space. If you are brand new to the channel, or if you've been watching for a while, you know that we are indeed back in the Sim City world here, where I am building out things one lot at a time. Which really sounds a lot more tedious than I mean it to, but hey, this is the project that I got going on with the channel, and this is what we are doing, and this is what we've been really enjoying ourselves doing, to say the very least. But yeah, today's build, we are back in the Bluewater Village suburb neighborhood. It's a sleepy suburb, it's filled with single family homes, it's got lots of restrictive rules on density, or so I have interpreted. And again, if you are kind of missing out on the Bluewater Village neighborhood vision, I did explain it in a couple of episodes past, so feel free to get acquainted with that if you haven't already. But anyways, today's episode is actually quite important. This isn't just a single family home. This is actually kind of a turning point, and that turning point is where we need to introduce some different architectural styles. You see, I've been going with a really classic suburban feel, like North American suburb, you know, more reminiscent of, I guess, the 90s, maybe early 2000s, some would say. And there is a certain look and feel of those kind of suburbs that I really love. I mean, you can even say that I reference like the 50s or whatever, like whatever that like age of grand suburbia was, that's kind of been my reference point for that. Plus, I really like McMansions and all of that, and that was really what the last build was. It was just like a really big two-story McMansion, which I actually still quite enjoy as a build in of itself. But anyways, today we're doing things different, and the reason why I really wanted to switch things up with the architectural style here is because if I don't do it now, then there's no way that I would be able to balance the Bluewater Village neighborhood out with other single family homes with like a variation of some sort of architectural style throughout the entire neighborhood, and just to give myself a break first and foremost, but other players as well. Although on one hand, I really don't mind the cookie cutter ness, I suppose, of the classic American suburb layout. Like, I really don't mind that look and feel for the single family homes and whatnot, but at the same time, like, this is The Sims 3, this is a video game, and I really want to at least try to balance it out with some different architectural styles here and there if I can help it. Of course, like with Bluewater Village, my vision here is to really make it more predominantly like McMansions and like larger suburban single family home builds and all of that. And I felt like I was able to achieve that in the last two builds when we were in the Bluewater Village neighborhood. So with this build, I really wanted to introduce something different here. And what architectural style am I going for here? I am sure you're wondering. And that is indeed like a modern architectural style. Like, I am talking a two-story glass house, and I really wanted to introduce that kind of architectural style because I feel like it really helps to break things up and to keep things fresh within the Bluewater Village neighborhood. I have some plans to also deviate to other architectural styles as well, other than like modern architectural styles, and I suppose McMansions, which I don't really think is technically considered an architectural style, and I should be the one who should know this, so that might just be a quick little Google search in between audio takes here. But anyways, with this architectural style, the modern, architectural style. The reason why I chose it and why it's a different style that I will continue to build throughout the Bluewater Village neighborhood is because it has different shapes to it. It has a completely different feel to it. It's got that glass house kind of thing going for it, which I know that some players absolutely love to play with. I honestly love pretty much all architectural styles. Like, I don't think that there is ever an architectural style out there that I disrespect. In fact, I like a lot of them. Even the boring suburban sprawling neighborhoods out there that have a generic architectural style is something that I can actually appreciate. It's, you know, I don't, like I said, I don't disrespect any architectural style out there. And when it came to the Bluewater Village neighborhood, I just needed to give it some variance to it because we've got a lot of single family home lots to build out for this neighborhood. And by the end of like this build, and even by the end of next build, it really starts to come together with the vision of the Bluewater Village neighborhood as a suburb. And I think that you guys are really going to enjoy it. And besides, like, there are some viewers out there that prefer these single family home builds, some that don't. So, you know, I've already explained like how I wanted to balance it with my channel and everything, but I also wanted to introduce new architectural styles within the Bluewater Village neighborhood, and this was really the perfect opportunity to do it. Now, the formula essentially is the same. I'm not going to lie. I still want there to be 4 parking spots for vehicles. I feel like I've explained in the past, I feel like when you are purchasing, like when your Sims are spending this amount of money to purchase a home, that you need to at least have a couple of parking spots for them to fit their vehicles in. So that still stays. I'm still adhering to the style standard of having the home built on a foundation and connected to a 2-car garage. So that standard is still staying the same. So there is a formula here within Bluewater Village that I am still sticking true to. It's just that the rest of the form for the house is just taking on a much different look and feel with different shapes. And so, yeah, I really think that like with those kind of design standards put in place that I've kind of given you guys an overview of in the past, that because I can stay true to those design standards, that I can deviate a little bit here and there with different architectural styles. Now, something that I will kind of make a mention of as well, when it comes to interior design and all of that, I am not afraid actually to make like several interpretations of the same interior design. So for example, if I was going for something super modern and sleek with a certain color palette in an apartment building, for example, I won't be afraid to reuse that same design for a single family home, or for whatever kind of housing form that there is out there. So that's not something that I am totally afraid of. And I guess like this is kind of the wrong episode to bring this up, because I really should be speaking about this in the next Bluewater build, which is about 2 episodes from now, if I remember correctly. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to mention it here because even though I've kind of applied that philosophy to the interior design, I'm kind of applying that philosophy here as a home design in general, like including the exterior. So I think that the last McMansion build that I did was a really great example of having a home that is sort of reminiscent to the Crumple Bottom Manor build, or sorry, the Crumple Bottom Chateau build. So you have one that's like a 2-story version of the mansion, and then eventually like I'll do a bungalow version of that mansion. So you kind of get where I'm going at with this, is that I will give different versions of different builds going forward. So I'm kind of wanted to say that as well, that this is indeed a modern house build, and there will be a modern mansion build eventually down the road. I haven't decided when I was going to do that mansion build. In fact, like, it's a pretty ambitious vision that I have, and I really shouldn't be speaking about it right now because I am nowhere near close to doing a mansion build. In fact, I love taking us up to Pleasant View and doing a mansion build in between like certain neighborhoods if I just needed to change the pace on something. And I like the pacing right now as to where it's going, and there might be an opportunity like way further along in the future for me to do it. But anyways, we're nowhere near that, to be quite honest with you guys. But yeah, the formula still stays the same. 2-car garage built on a foundation. In this case, it's a 2-story, so I always have to do something funky with the basement. Oh yeah, and there's a basement. So there's a lot that really goes on in terms of sticking true to the Bluewater Village design standards, and this house was really no exception. And even though there were some standards put into place that I've explained well beyond before, like, it didn't really hinder my creativity at all. In fact, I think it really helped to guide it in terms of making this home actually feel like it fits within the neighborhood. Now, there was a bit of feedback in the McMansion build that I had done in terms of like the landscaping and giving a little more room for the front yard and all that, and I actually did adhere to it, although I still kind of stand by my McMansion build before. That McMansion build actually was really, you know, I ran into some challenges with that, just with the stairs and how I wanted to lay out the stairs. Whereas with this house build, I decided to keep the stairs actually quite simple because I didn't want to run into those same challenges. And so, you know, the stairs in the McMansion build eats up quite a bit of space because there's some walls that you can't actually work with. Anyways, it's all within that episode. I've explained it there, so you guys can feel free to watch it. It's just the house literally to the left of this one here. So it's kind of odd for me to like watch these episodes, watch the recordings, and then sort of not speak about other builds here and there. But anyways, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Let's get back into this build here. Don't worry, I actually end up switching out that garage door for something a lot more suitable for this particular build here. But anyways, when it came to the design of this particular house, like the bulkhead features, the flat ceiling, like these are the different shapes that I'm talking about that give a little more variety to the Bluewater Village neighborhood. It just gives you like a different and interesting shape to actually look at when you're looking at the Bluewater Village neighborhood. Now, keep in mind, the Bluewater Village neighborhood is indeed mostly composed of single-family homes. Like, these are meant to be oversized, suburban single-family homes that take a lot of inspiration from the American suburbs. And even though I am mixing the different architectural styles and not exactly keeping it like one uniform architectural style, I still want there to be enough intrigue and enough interest within the lot and within the neighborhood itself to actually, you know, keep players a little more intrigued by the neighborhood, if that makes any sense. I'm not too sure if that did, but I didn't want it to feel like a cookie cutter neighborhood, even though its essence and its formula is that of a cookie cutter neighborhood. So that was really one of the challenges that I had going into the Bluewater Village neighborhood, knew that I needed to address, and this build, in my opinion, really helps to change the pace and to change the patterns that we are seeing by introducing new shapes into the neighborhood, and also just keeping things a little more fresher for us going forward. That also goes into the window choices as well. Like, this does feel like a glass house, and it's absolutely meant to. This is meant to be a home that would be shown in magazines, like for modern architecture, of course. This would be like a magazine worthy home, much like the other McMansion build was, like, to be fair, but this one would be even more so. Like, this would be the upcoming kind of magazine, I suppose. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I think that you would see this one on, like, making the rounds on Pinterest and just getting a lot more attention than a McMansion build would. So that's just pretty much what I'm trying to say here. And so with that, like a glass house is not as private, and that makes this particular home not as family friendly as maybe the previous Bluewater Village homes, because with those ones you at least kind of get a sense of privacy to a certain retrospect, whereas with this one the windows are very much the feature of the home, and there's a lot of them and you can see through from one end of the house to another. I know that there's a home that I drive by where I can actually see through one end of the house to another, and I guess that's because they haven't protected their views by like through landscaping, or not their views, but like screened their property with landscaping or anything of the sort. But that is something that I took into consideration going into this, that even though this is a modern and a really modern home build, that there are some pitfalls to that particular architectural style. And in my opinion, one of those pitfalls with a floor to ceiling glass windows is a lack of privacy. And sure, you might be able to get away with that in a high-rise condo, but then you're dealing with the height factor and how there are not going to be so many people actually able to see into your home. Whereas in this one, you're right at ground level and you only have like maybe a second story on top of you. So yeah, people can still see in. And even though like I did decorate the front yard just a little bit, just adding in like a tiny bit of vegetation here and there, and I'll kind of go on to explain more on that a little later on, it's still not as private as a home that the previous styles were really able to convey and achieve. This is not exactly a private home. This is a home that you want to show off, and a home that you actually want to host. Speaking of its form and all of that, like this house actually gave me an opportunity to build a balcony, which is actually something that I didn't really want to lean into for Bluewater Village homes. However, like with the shape and form that this house took, it felt like a complete disservice for me not to actually add in a little bit of balcony space. So there is a tiny bit of balcony space going forward here, and that just might be one of the trade-offs that I have with modern architectural style homes going forward within Bluewater Village. Speaking of Bluewater Village, I've already spoken a little bit about this, but it does bear reiterating here that I do intend for the colors of the single family homes to really represent the ocean, and to be reminiscent of the ocean, I suppose. And so I really leaned into the naturals and the whites for this particular home, kind of giving it like, I don't want to say like a sandy feel, but if you found like some driftwood on the beach or whatever, you would see it like mixed in with some sandier colors and some off whites here and there. So that's really the flexibility and part of the range that I was trying to achieve with that kind of design restriction within Bluewater Village. I think what especially captures this range of colors, I suppose, that I really want to use for these single family homes is the townhouse builds, because I made those essentially. I made the color palette for that for the exteriors on those. A metaphor for a wave that's rolling into the beach and then kind of breaking at the end, which is why you go from that dark blue to the white in that particular build. So this would be, I guess, the white part of that color range if I really wanted to drill down and get into it. So that was really where the color choices was coming from for this, and I felt that the wood siding and everything really worked well. It is a little reminiscent of my spa build that I did, and the more I think about that spa build, the more I actually want to like redo it and gut it completely. So I might not like have to slide in like some sort of an edit episode for that sometime in the far future. Like I won't go back and like do an edit on an edit episode. It's not something that I really like to do, but I think that as I have gotten a little bit better like with design and building houses and such, that it might be worth revisiting. There's not many that I really will say that for those, so I pretty much stand by all my builds is really what I'm trying to say. Another thing that I did that was new for this build that helps to kind of make it stand out is I staggered the sidewalk, as opposed to just having a sidewalk as a complete solid entity leading up to the entrance of the house like I did with the previous Bluewater Village home builds. I decided to stagger this one here just to put the grass in between. I've seen that done in other modern homes, and so I really wanted to replicate it here because it just felt like it was more aligned with the modern architectural style. So I use that here. I really love the way that it turned out, and it's absolutely going to be something that I'll continue doing going forward. And it just speaks to how this one architectural style is going to help this home stand out, but also add a little more dynamisty to the Bluewater Village neighborhood as a whole, I suppose. To be completely transparent, when I was putting in the interior wallpaper, I intended it to be for a colder gray, but it actually came out a seafoam green, and so I just kind of rolled with it. And what I am intending for the interior design for this particular home to just kind of emulate is a modern, a modern interior design. And the only thing is that it kind of accidentally became this nice meshing of modern interior design and also like a coastal style as well. So it just kind of molded into this unintended combination of the two different interior decorating styles. And so I just kind of rolled with it, if I'm going to be completely honest. And speaking of which, like having that coastal color palette helps to break things up as well, and it also helps to break me out of the safe space that I always operate in, which is like a neutral color palette. So yeah, it was all very welcome. And when it came to like the finishing of the house and the finishing of the interiors, it all turned out to be something that I absolutely stand by and I actually enjoy and genuinely like. So it all came together, if you ask me. Moving on to the kitchen here. As you can tell with this particular home, the layout is a lot more, takes on a more open floor plan. And so there was really no room for a pantry in the kitchen, which is kind of disappointing to me, but maybe I can like slot that in somewhere. I'm not too sure if I even want to, just because it would create too many, it would ruin the pathways and the general vibes or whatever. But there was really no room for a pantry. I didn't feel like there was a need for one in this particular build just because of the open floor plan, and I was also giving some space for a front yard as opposed to taking up that space, which would have probably allowed me to put in a pantry and to put in like a formal dining room. But I wanted to depart from that kind of interior layout because that's what I have been doing for the last couple of Bluewater Village builds, and I really wanted to embrace more of an open floor plan because I feel like that matches the modern architectural style that I was going for to begin with. So I was very happy with the way everything turned out anyways, although the kitchen isn't as large as some of the previous builds that I've done in Bluewater Village. It is certainly something that is more than enough for players to actually play in, and something that I think players would actually enjoy. So yeah, with the open floor plan, the dining room and the dining area and the great room were kind of combined into one. The only thing that I kind of like not sure on is the placement of the fireplace. Although I wanted it a little more further interior, I didn't feel like that was going to work out with the way that I had everything set up for the walls and everything, because I wanted it to kind of match the wood siding chimney that goes through the middle of the home and kind of splits the home into two. So yeah, not too sure how I feel about the fireplace entirely, but by the end of the build, I really do like the way that it turned out. So I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I could just open myself up to feedback on that one there, and that's what the comment section is for. So if you have a better idea, feel free to drop that comment below. I'm also not genuinely a huge fan of having a TV on the main level because, okay, this is just me kind of designing a home here to design a home, but because of the noise that a TV kind of causes, in on the main level, I really view that level as the place to like really host people and to invite them into your home and to socialize. And so I feel that a TV room doesn't really adhere to those kind of intentions. And so I think you guys have kind of noticed this throughout, but I like to separate the TV rooms from the other living spaces if I can and if that's possible. I mean, I know when I did the penthouse build, actually, I don't even think that I put in a TV, if I remember correctly. I could be remembering that wrong. So if I'm remembering it wrong, I will be editing that into the episode. But if I'm remembering it right, then I think that just goes to show like where my head is at when designing a living space and how I prioritize socializing over a place to be, you know, quote unquote distracted by a TV. That's just kind of my personal philosophy there. And also with the way that modern technology works these days, and although, okay, maybe this is not the best example of this, maybe this is more of an example of old school technology, but with a combination, like with a modern update to old school technology, you can have projectors. And with computers being able to play movies and such, I would rather, like as a homeowner, I would rather have a blank wall or a wall that I can easily make blank and then just have a projector, you know, project a screen of a movie that I'm playing from my computer. That's just how I feel about it. I just feel that TVs are kind of going by the wayside at the moment, and I am sorry to say that. Maybe that's just my hot take on technology for this episode, but that's just how I feel, and that's how I've been designing my homes here. Is I've been trying to separate the socializing, like living room, from an official media room. And it's not that I'm trying to hate on a media room or anything of the sort, because I do think that there is a time and a place for it, but I just felt that the time and place wasn't on the main level for this particular home. I felt that when you're greeting people into your home and you're just kind of socializing on that main level, you want to have those views on both sides of the home, and you want to have access to your kitchen and to your eating areas and, you know, to the place where it makes the most sense to socialize. When we get to building the basement, you are going to see that I do add in that TV room into the basement and all of that. So it's not like I'm completely departing away and saying no to TVs on this particular lot here. And it's just that I'm saying no to TVs on that main level. And in the next Bluewater Village build, I actually do include a TV and a living area space on the same floor. So it's not like it's something that I'm personally adhering to. It's just that if it makes sense for this build or for another build or whatever, I'm going to make that call when I get to it. So I decided to use glass stairs and also those glass fences as well. Again, to reiterate that this is not exactly a family-friendly home. This is a home that was designed for recognition and for awards and all of that. It's not necessarily something that's designed with families and young children in mind first, although I do still create a nursery here just to make that kind of gameplay still accessible for players that do want to use this as a family, as a family playthrough. I also wanted to mention as well, like I said before, the interior here is just really like the interior design is really modern meets beach or coastal. And yeah, this home is designed with at least 3 bedrooms, and that's something that I've been trying to do for all of the Bluewater Village homes here. They are at least 3 bedrooms in terms of their size, and no matter whether they're a 2-story or a bungalow. And I always try to at least make one of those bedrooms into some sort of a nursery, just again to encourage that family gameplay style that some players have, and to at least make it accessible and easy for players to just kind of roll into if they do decide to download the home. Generally speaking, I'm actually not a huge fan of balconies, and I'm not even too sure why that is. Actually, I do know why that is. I feel like when it comes to balconies, it's just like extra seating space. And like when it comes to building houses and when it comes to building out any kind of spaces, whenever I'm using seating space as a functional use for a designated area, it feels like it's a bit of a waste of space. Like it feels like a cop out to me. And so when it comes to balconies, I'm usually just making it additional seating space. In this case, I decided to fight against that that natural tendency of mine, and I decided to put a fire pit out in the balcony. Now, I'm pretty sure that goes against all kinds of fire codes to have a fire pit on a roof structure, but I decided to do it because we don't have fire codes in The Sims 3, so I figured I'd get away with it. Otherwise, if I was really concerned about like a an arbitrary fire, not an arbitrary, but an imaginary fire code of some sort, I probably would have just made the balcony area on the second floor just more seating areas, because I wouldn't put a barbecue in that case, and I just didn't know what else to really put there. So yeah, I decided to put the fire pit there and just kind of call it a day. But yeah, I'm not a fan of balconies in general. When I was building out one of the condo towers in Midtown, I tried to even do like a bit of set dressing with balconies, and that didn't even turn out properly or even correct. So I'm not like a huge fan of balconies. I feel like they're just there to serve as a picture point for your Sims, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that if you play your game like just to live out those moments, or just to like take pictures and whatnot. But for me, there's like no real gameplay need for it. Balconies are really just there to look nice. Like I don't mind if there's a balcony that exists as a way to get to somewhere else, like if there's like a set of stairs attached to them. I just have issues with balconies, you guys. I don't know how else to put it here. I'm sure I'm not doing myself any kind of favors by over explaining that. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the second floor, because the second floor is the primary suite with a department style closet and also its own ensuite bathroom. There's also an office and a study at the staircase landing, and that was all intended. I really wanted the second floor, again, because this isn't a house that is designed for family living per se. I just wanted to make that second floor completely all about the primary suite. In my opinion, like more family friendly homes would have like a bedroom on the upstairs so that you could at least have a nursery that is nearby the primary suite. This does not have any of that. I've already explained that my vision for this house was to make it a little more superficial, a little more magazine ready, and it's not designed for families, but you can have a family in here, and I do still allow that flexibility within this particular build as well. Now, the walk-in closet was really challenging because I wanted it to be a department style walk-in closet, which you guys have seen me do before, and maybe I'm kind of erring on the side of overdoing them, but I just feel like I am not going to have a whole lot of opportunities as soon as we move out of the Bluewater Village neighborhood and into other neighborhoods that have narrower spaces. But hey, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But the walk-in closet was also challenging because of the lack of privacy that this house permits for your playing, because it's got floor to ceiling glass windows on both sides. You can technically look through the entire house, and so that included the upstairs as well. So there really isn't a whole lot of privacy that's really offered there, so I really had to pick and choose what I wanted to do with it. But yeah, I placed the bed on the west side so that it is just slightly more private. Like it is protected by a screen of trees that I placed in the Create a World series between the townhouse lots and the single family home lots. So there's that kind of offers that little bit of extra privacy. And then you'll see me like come back to the walk-in closet again here just to rebuild it, but I built it at first with a wall, and then I decided to take that out for the Cambodia set blinds, which I have talked about before, but I am especially going to talk about in a little bit here. And then I like put a wall back in because I really wanted that walk-in I really wanted all walls closed in for the department style closet. So yeah, that's kind of where we kind of get to here. It was the primary suite was something that I had to revisit a few times, but I get it right at the end, and I'm very happy with the way it turned out. As I do in all of my builds, you're gonna see me do all of the bathrooms all at once. And that's really because I want all of my bathrooms to be consistent in the same kind of interior style within the home. And, you know, I also like for Bluewater Village and sticking to my full bathroom formula, which again means I am building I'm just building out a 1x3 wall with a walk-in shower closet with the actual shower unit within that, and there's glass windows and everything. Again, this is just like another reminder to myself, from myself, that I really need to look at more inspiration for bathrooms, because that same formula is getting tired, and it needs to, like, I need to figure out something else new here to do. But yeah, the bathrooms are all done at the same time here because I just needed them all to have the same style. I like that kind of consistency for bathrooms in any kind of build that I do, so that's going to just be something, a signature style of my own, I suppose, if we really wanted to peg it down to something kind of neat there. But yeah, bathrooms are done in the same formula, and yeah, with this house and with the previous Bluewater Village house, like even in the McMansion builds, I do like to have 2 full bathrooms and a half bathroom. The 2 full bathrooms, one being the primary ensuite bathroom, the other being the full bathroom accessible by all of the other rooms, and then of course a half bathroom that is accessible by your guests and all of that. Way back when I did, you know, have bathrooms, like when I did when I did bathrooms accessible on the main level there, I used to add in like full showers. I used to make them full bathrooms, and it was like so unnecessary, and that was like way back when I was doing them. It's not anywhere on this channel or in this series, thank goodness, but I used to do that. And then I figured out that I am better than that, and I can build a little more realistically. Okay, let's talk again about closets. Let's talk about that Cambodian blind set that came with the Cambodia set from the Sims 3 store. And if I'm smart enough, I'm going to edit in the screenshot where you guys can find it on the Sims 3 store website, because this blind object in particular is something that I've talked about extensively in the Gas District remake, in the Midtown Edits episode where I was redoing the Gas District. Now, you're gonna see me level up here as a creator and a builder right before your very eyes, because as an experiment, I decided to place one of those Cambodian blinds up as opposed to like adding in doors for the closet. And let me tell you, I am absolutely 1,000,000% leaning into that look and aesthetic for a few reasons. For one, those blinds are beautiful. They are stunning, in fact, and I have already used them in multiple builds, even in this build, like several times, and it just looks phenomenal in every space that I have put them in. So those blinds are staying, and if you guys are gonna get sick of those blinds, I am so sorry to say, but this is the point in the channel where you need to check out, because I am using those blinds every chance that I get, every chance that I think I need them, I'll probably use them. Because they are just so flexible. For one, they worked as closet doors. I don't have to go shopping around for so much custom content anymore, because I can just use them as like some sort of a shutter for a closet door, like a faux closet door or whatever. Another thing as well is that because they are blinds, I could theoretically place a dresser behind it and the Sims would still have access to it, because, and I've done a little bit of testing on this, they can like interact through the blind. So there we go. Here is my new closet solution that I have been dying for. And I've just been placing like one panel of these blinds down just because I like the idea of having like an open closet, and I felt that that was more realistic at the time. But I'm not going to shy away from the idea of closed closets if I think that those look good or not. I haven't done a build that has those yet, at the time of recording this, but it could very well be something that I do in the near future. So yeah, I leveled up right before your very eyes as a creator because those Cambodian blinds are, yep, using them for pretty much everything. I even use them as like wall partitions because I don't like the wall partitions that we get in the game, and even the Sims 3 store doesn't have a whole wide selection of those wall partitions either. So yeah, those Cambodian blinds are here to stay, and they are going to reappear in many builds. So many builds, you guys. With the addition of those Cambodian blinds, the walk-in closet really looked great. I felt that I was able to convey the glamour of a department style walk-in closet a lot more. Like, it added a nice polish to it. So I really, really love the way that it turned out. This would be one of my more favorite walk-in closets that I have done in this series, and it might actually inspire me to go back and do some of the ones that I have done before. But who knows? We'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there, and I'll just make note of what I want to do in terms of like editing much older lots that I have already done edit episodes for. But whatever, I'm getting way ahead of myself there. So in the primary suite, I did add in an extra like modern fireplace. Actually, the fireplace came from the Into the Future expansion pack, which again is an expansion pack that surprised me with the amount of objects and items that I had to play with it. It's one of the expansion packs that again really surprised me in a really great way in certain aspects of it. But you know, I'm not here to talk about the Into the Future expansion pack. But again, here I am adding in a seating area for the primary suite. And I know we just had this discussion about how I feel about seating areas, but for me, okay, maybe I'll refine that opinion a little more here. In terms of like a seating area, I do feel like on one hand, it is absolutely a cop-out and you're just trying to fill in some space. But on the other hand, you can really explore the context, and you can tell the story in greater detail by adding in those seating areas. Sure, there might be like some seating in front of a fireplace in the living room, but you know that when people come over to your place, that's going to be one of the places that they want to sit at and hang out at and all that. But you can also use a lot of decorative objects to like place, you know, a tray of champagne glasses by it. So again, you can help to tell the story of that. And in terms of the primary suite, I really wanted to tell the story that this is indeed a luxury home. You're not purchasing this home per se to like raise a family in, not with all those glass staircases and glass railings and all that. You wouldn't dare raise a family in those. But maybe if your family was older, this would be something that you would lean towards because you're ready for a more refined you know, lifestyle or whatnot. You really want to live a little more luxuriously while also being a little more budget friendly than a straight up mansion. So that's again the kind of look and feel that I was going for, and to help tell the story of giving a space a more luxurious feel, adding in a modern looking fireplace like the one from Into the Future was certainly a way it was certainly a way for me to just help add in just an extra touch of luxury into the house and into the primary suite and everything. So, you know, I feel like it's justified there. It's just unjustified seating areas that really bug me. And I know I've done those in the past. I'm not too sure if I really feel that way about any of my builds on this channel, but I have done it in the past on builds that I have never allowed see the light of day to the public. So yeah, seating areas can certainly be, yeah, there's a time and a place for them, and I feel like you have to be telling a specific story if you are giving them a time and a place to shine. And living areas, or living rooms I should say, are, you know, sorry to say it folks, but if you don't have a TV in there, it's just a seating room. And yeah. And I know that I just like, it's very dichotomous, like how I've explained seating areas, and then in the same video talked about how I don't really care for media rooms too much. So, you know, my opinion is forever forever evolving. There are many layers to it, I suppose. I've gotten way off topic here. One thing that has always bothered me about The Sims 3, and I have spoken about this in the past, is actually the bloom lighting effect. That's BLOOM, in case that did not get transcribed properly. And the bloom lighting, it throws off a lot of the colors. So I was not experimenting, but I discovered this really nice white and, you know, dark brown and medium kind of deep brown. And I thought that it looked really beautiful, and I bet you it's gonna actually translate better on the screenshots when we get to the tour of it. But on screen here on the video, it just doesn't look that great, if I'm gonna be honest. And even the dark wood floors, which are a nice deep chocolate brown, those didn't translate the way that I wanted to, and I feel like it's also throwing off the walls just a tiny bit as well. But the Sims 3 bloom is something that throws off colors, and actually, like, just to kind of give you guys a peek behind the curtains, I do actually edit the colors in my Sims 3 videos, because the Sims 3 doesn't really record properly with the recording software that I use. So, you know, maybe there's a better software out there, maybe I'm just using the wrong software, but I always, like, for every one of my videos, I've had to do like a minor adjustment to make sure that it is bright enough and also that it isn't too glaring. And I don't feel like I'm completely hitting the nail on the head when it comes to the proper coloring here. It's just like an extra layer of editing that I have to do here that's just really annoying, if I'm going to be honest. It's like a small thing, but it's also something that's very annoying because I'm not getting it completely right where I want it. Anyways, the study that I built really supplied the lack of computers in the house. I had to make this the study and the office space kind of feel like a welcoming space, since it connects to the balcony, and the balcony would be another place that you could host guests over, as well as like your living space. So it's like, it feels very accessible, and I feel like guests would kind of gravitate more towards that. But yeah, the study had to feel welcoming, as it's just like naturally leading out to the balcony. And the balcony space for the floor on that, I tried to stipulate like where the living, like where you're allowed to walk and where you're not allowed to walk. And I reintroduced some wood floors and all of that, just to kind of also juxtapose it with the gravel. And then I outlined it. I thought I did a pretty good job on the balcony, actually, in trying to balance between what is the living space there and what is the actual gravel roof. An interesting fact for you guys, that sometimes on flat roofs, and this depends on like where you live, of course, they will use gravel, and a light colored gravel, just to reflect more sunlight off, so it doesn't damage the roof so much from sun damage. So yeah, little interesting fact there that you guys get to walk away with from this video. Let's switch over to the backyard, because the gazebo was built and I feel like it's becoming a cop-out, but I really like it, and I felt like it fit the backyard for this particular lot. So I see a pattern starting, but I am also saying I like it here. The screening of trees just immediately behind this lot makes this lot a little more shaded in the backyard along with its neighbors, as you guys have probably already noticed. However, as we move on to other lots within Bluewater Village, they will feel more open depending on where this tree screening and tree lines are actually added into. I know that like when we move to different lots, it's just going to feel very airy, which is why I haven't done like a lot of heavy landscaping in the backyards for a lot of these lots, is because it's already kind of landscaped and it already feels shaded enough as it is. The outdoor living stuff pack is another cop out, and I really need to get some inspiration. So it kind of falls into the same category as the bathrooms, in terms of me just finding out or just discovering like inspiration from other Sims 3 builds here, because I keep doing the same thing. Maybe it's signature, maybe that's something you guys want to throw out there, but it's becoming a pattern. I need to like start walking away from it. But the outdoor living stuff pack, absolutely worth it from The Sims 3 if you really want to ask my opinion on that. But yeah, other than that, the backyard landscaping is very basic. The gazebo is the focus. The backyard, like barbecuing and eating area is really the focus there. The backyard wasn't really doing a whole lot. And in the front yard, I just added in some palm trees just to make it feel a little more tropical. After all, this is still kind of set in a tropical area with very few areas kind of becoming a little more temperate, but we're not even close to kind of working in those areas quite yet. So yeah, I added in some trees, some palm trees, and I knew that this would be the case where it would be more, where I would add more tropical flora and trees in on a lot by lot basis within Bluewater Village, since I'd want to have like more control over that in that kind of retrospect. They feel a little random, but I also wanted them to feel a little more natural while giving a little bit of extra privacy to that glass wall effect that we have discussed before for this build. Although I typically like to end on the top floor for a build, I guess I was just out of practice for building single family homes, and I actually ended this episode in the basement here, but the basement came together quite quickly. I filled in really the missing elements from this home, which included the laundry, a mechanical / storage room of some sort, and then the extra bedrooms and also the media room as well. When it comes to like the mechanical rooms, I haven't really spoken too much about this because I was trying to find some custom content to like download a proper boiler or a forced air boiler forced air heater system, some sort of custom content to actually bring a little bit of realism into the homes here. Now, I have built out storage rooms in the past before, and I've placed that electrical box from the Supernatural expansion pack. For some reason, that's where it came with. And, you know, I just kind of called it a mechanical room with my imagination and put in some extra boxes in there to store some extra stuff. Well, nothing much is going to be changing here, except I might just be changing some storage things here and there. But I like the idea of having a storage room in each of these single family homes. Even though it is a piece of set dressing, it is something that I feel is slightly realistic. So I decided that I am going to continue with those mechanical / storage rooms, even though I can't find any kind of air conditioning or heater system on the internet out there that I like or even enjoy even. Feel free to submit your suggestions below, but I've been looking all over the Sims resource and I'm just not finding anything that I enjoy there or something that I find would be suitable for these builds. But anyways, that's just me being picky about custom content, which is really nothing new. All right, now those Cambodian set blinds are making a comeback here in the basement, and they are acting as partitions this time. I've already mentioned it before in this episode itself, but let me tell you, like, they are just the best. They feel chic and modern. They give like a wooden slat feel and look, which is something I feel is desperately missing from The Sims 3. Even with the wallpapers and the floors that I use, like I'm always looking for a nice straight wooden slat feel, and I just don't get to scratch that itch, I suppose. And so this actually kind of does it for me. And, you know, Sims also ignore these blinds as well. So you can place them in the middle of the room and your Sims will actually walk through them. So you don't have to necessarily worry about bathing issues, according to the way that I've been testing things, at least anyways. But yeah, I use those Cambodian blinds as partitions. I divided the media room and it looks so nice. And it looks like it was a really great modern feature that a designer, an interior decorator would absolutely put in the property here. So yeah, they are the best. And if I am ever, like, I am just discovering these things this year, you guys. So if you're ever on the Sims 3 store, and you have like some extra sim points to your name, that would be the one object I would say absolutely go and get. I just feel like it's so flexible. I'm using them for closets. I'm using them for room partitions. I'm just using them to use them. They just look so great. I love them. And yeah, we'll talk more about the Cambodian set in a bit here. But yeah, Another thing as well, I like to add the real late night bars to the lots where I can, because this allows players to hire mixologists, which is something you can do when you're hosting a party or whenever, I suppose. I guess you can hire a mixologist just for the hell of it. And, you know, there's nothing stopping you as the player from doing that. But yeah, those mixologists work at the real late night bars. You can hire them to your home lot, and then they serve drinks and they put out snacks and everything, and it's kind of great. It's like a great little feature that they didn't need to add and nobody asked for, yet it's there for the players. Really great, awesome feature there. So I try to encourage that whenever I'm adding in bars or whatever to my builds, is I use the real late night bars on the home lots where I can or where I feel is appropriate. But yeah, this house came together quite beautifully. This is a wonderful modern addition to the Bluewater Village neighborhood. I think it helps to set the pace. It helps to divide things up a little bit. It adds a little more intrigue to the neighborhood as an entirety. And I really can't wait to build more modern single family homes. I guess like this, but obviously there's going to be different designs and such. But this really helps to kind of set the tone that Bluewater Village isn't just a cookie cutter suburb neighborhood. It has some of those elements that is at its core, sure, but it can be a little more diverse in its architectural styles here and there. So I really love the way that this home turned out. I think it adds a lot to the neighborhood here. And yeah, I can't really say enough good things about it. I really enjoyed this house build itself, and I have barely got anything that I want to edit. I don't even think I want to edit it. Maybe I could change the counters in the kitchen, but even then, I'm quite okay with the Edwardian set that I use there, which is again another piece of content from the store. But yeah, that's gonna about do it for today's episode. In the next episode, which won't be probably for another month out here, just because at the time that this episode is getting released, it is in the middle of my school year pretty much. So I have smartly paced myself so that I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. Anyways, the next episode, we are going to make our way back to the Far East Square neighborhood. So we started out with building a fusion lounge there. We finished the fusion lounge, thankfully, and we are going to head back there, and we are going to start building some residences within the Far East neighborhood, as I feel like a neighborhood needs to have its residences no matter what. Or residents, I suppose. Okay, I guess because I'm getting so tongue-tied here, it is time for me to sign off here. I just want to take a minute here just to say thank you so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video and if you're enjoying this series, feel free to like this video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.